First off, we know there has been a system put in place. You basically have the powers that be taking over the consciousness of the planet, taking over the control. So that's what it's about. You have to understand, time itself is about control. It's about taking away freedom. Plain and simple, to take you out of natural law, universal law, to put you in a control system. Anything that has time put to it is a mechanism of control. It basically takes away your freedom. Why? Because you are now relegated. You are now under the control of that time. Plain and simple. You have to be there at that specific point. So freedom is an illusion. This is why everybody says that. It doesn't exist. No such thing as freedom in a society when the society is ran on time, meaning you are not truly free. At some point, you have to be somewhere. Plain and simple, as long as you are under the control of the system. So with the ancients and the animals, it wasn't about a specific point in time. It was about the system. It was about nature, the way everything was supposed to be. Everything just was. No matter what you do or what you say, the sun is going to rise and it's going to set. Plain and simple. The oceans will move, the tide will be high, the tide will be low. No matter what kind of number, no matter what you do, that's not going to change. That's a constant. It will continue to happen. Now, if you put a name to it, you put a title to a specific moment, you are creating time. This is basically what they did. They said the sun is at its highest point. We're going to call that noon. Now that is noon. Once you do that, now you can create a system and things relative to that point that we call noon. It has a name now. Everything is tied to this point. Now, anything you tie to that specific thing is under your control. Who is controlling time? Your watches. Our watches we call it time. It's not telling us time. We are basically slaves to it. We are basically abiding by it. We are under its control. This watch is good because it's synced with other watches. They're synced to another watch. They're synced to the master watch that we all agree is time. It's just that simple. We all agree that this is the right time. You turn on your TV, you say, okay, I want to make sure my time is correct. What we do, we go look on the internet, we go look at the news, and we all agree that that is real time. Our time is right because it's set to the news time. And we go about our life based upon that understanding. We are just, it's like the money system. We are in agreement that the money is money. It's just paper, but we all agree that it's money. It's the same thing with time. We are in agreement that it is this specific time, and at this specific time, something is supposed to happen. Whether it's natural, sun rising and setting, or something given to us like the game about to come on, power about to come on, or what have you. Then now we are on that schedule, which is why they call it scheduling your programming, your regularly scheduled programming, because they're programming you on schedule at these specific times. These are not plays on words, plain and simple. It's called programming. So the whole notion of the time thing, what I touched on before, is going back to Saturn, Chronos, who is the god of time, which is also Satan. When you understand, Satan is time. And it's how you put everything in sync with this system and begin to understand what this stuff really is about. So again, materialism. You have a materialistic world that is controlled by these corporations and companies. Their logo, as I talked about, a lot of these logos have to do with Saturn, Illuminati, what have you. And it's all time and matter controlling it. Time controls matter. We are matter. It's all one big thing rolled into one when you begin to understand it. So you have these corporations that we all work for, or what have you, and they have us under these schedules to produce material, to produce something that's going to contribute to this materialistic world that's going to take away from us time. It's going to cost us time. So time itself, and this is where everybody has it confused, has a dual nature that is not a dual nature. It has a dual nature to where I always talk about time does have a dual nature, meaning it can go up, down, back, forward, what have you. In this instinct, you have time that is controlled by man, controlled by the powers that be, and the time that is basically a power that is basically what causes us to age. And they understand that this is the secret that you're not going to find nowhere else. Nobody else is talking about this. I always say that time is a construct, that it is a creation. It is not dualistic, because I'm right. It's really not, because when you really begin to understand, the time that we agree is time doesn't exist. And this is where we basically get into the whole Saturn moon thing, what a lot of people talked about our moon basically broadcasting this fictional reality that I call time. And a lot of people are not making that connection to what it really is. How you really get into this thing is touching on energy itself and touching on what's here, what exists, and how it's been here for a long time. So one of the things that's very easy for us to see is the fact that you have trees, rocks, that's organic. You know, a rock is living, whether you understand it or not. But these things can live thousands of years, thousands. And I talked about how trees create their own negative ionosphere, which is why they can live for thousands of years, as long as you don't cut them down. In some cases, you cut them down, they'll grow right back. And we as humans have this infinite energy that we know exists, that regenerates us every single day, that heals us. So the implications is, why is it that we cannot continuously heal the way we heal a cut, the way we heal, a minor bruise, or even a freaking gunshot wound heals? Why can't we continuously heal and keep this process going, forever? If we have this energy to heal that is infinite, that we see has real effects on the body, that really heals the body, why can't we keep this process going? And this is why it gets into this whole matrix, this whole Saturn moon power thing that many people are touching on. Something that really has to do with our energy and it being withered down over time. It's not so much, our energy itself being withered down, but our bodies that is housing the energy. So they have basically effectively figured out a way to age matter, to really affect matter, and to have it dissipate over time. So that is the effect of time. But time as we know it, that we tell time and we talk about and we schedule, is non-existent. It does not exist. For what? For what reason would you want to know what time a program comes on? So there's always a reason when time is involved, and the reason is controlled by a something, a person, a thing. So as I said before, if I wanted to know how long it's going to take you to finish eating your food, for what? The hell I want to know that for? I have to have a reason. So the reason is basically from me. So now I'm controlling the situation with my reason for whatever motive I may have. I might want to know how long it's going to take you to finish eating because I want you to go somewhere with me or do something for me. So there's always a reason and a motive behind the reason. Why else would we ask the question? What is the point of the why? What's the point of the question? So with time, this is what we are introducing when we bring in the concept of time. And we are making everything that's conducive to this time slave to us, to the suggestion, to the situation. So it's a reason behind it all. What is the reason? As I said, to control, to take away freedom. And you have to look at the system and step back. And it's definitely crazy when you pay attention to how everything is put on these schedules to control this cycle that we call life. And it's really deep in ways I'm going to talk about that a lot of people don't get. And if we knew how deep this stuff is and how important it is for us to really take control of our, freedom, not time, really our freedom, then we'll see that the effects of time can be bypassed by consciousness. Plain and simple. And they know this. They understand it. And I'm going to prove it. I'm going to try to prove it. But it's kind of sort of ways we can look at a couple things to see how the effect of time, as far as the power of it, that it's causing aging, that it's causing things to die, that it's causing death, is a construct. It is a creation. So now, when you take it back to the Bible and you put it together about time, death, Satan, make the connection. So time, death, Satan, death, Chronos, God of time, death, Satan, all in one. It's all the same thing. So when you understand, at some point eventually, because of time, you're going to die. Satan deals with death. Satan deals with time. Satan is the God of this world, controlling the time. Everything is put there for a reason to get you to understand this fact. And as we go forward, you'll understand how it really fits in to the way we are living this life right now. And we also have, remember, the Grim Reaper dealing with Chronos, dealing with Saturn, Satan, the Grim Reaper, death. All this stuff goes right into our everyday life, time itself. So the system as we know it, you're born into the system, you are put in school, go to school at a certain time for a certain amount of time. You graduate, you go back into the world to contribute back to the system. Plain and simple. We have our graduations. When you graduate college, graduate high school, you get this square of Saturn, as I always talk about, acknowledging you're on the path of Chronos. You're on the path of Satan. They are controlling all of this. It's in every single thing, as I said before. When you start doing the research, you're going to find Satan everywhere. You're going to find Chronos everywhere, Saturn everywhere. It's in your graduation, boom, which is why I didn't put the Saturn cap on and go down there. I didn't want to participate in the ritual. And all this stuff goes into the same thing. Graduate college, cap and gown, ceremony of Saturn. And now you go on to being able to contribute to the system that's under Satan or Saturn, time that they control. It is not a coincidence that we see the logos resembling Saturn. It's not a coincidence that we see these people seemingly worshiping Satan, worshiping the devil, Lucifer, what have you. They get it. They understand what it's all about. It is simply time and the controller of time that is controlling the system that's controlling us. Plain and simple. So now that you understand that and you start putting everything into context and you understand that, wait a minute, if we didn't have these people telling us to be here, if we didn't have to do these things at a certain time and be here at a certain time and pick this up or watch this or be programmed at this specific time, what would it be? We would be in sync with natural law, universal law. Animals, you think a lion looks at his watch before he goes to hunt. Everything is instinctive. As I talked about before, you can have two lions chasing a buffalo. Next thing you know, buffalo hit the bushes. It's two lions waiting there for him. Ambush. All coordinated without no verbal communication. They are in sync. They understand. They get it. So time, where people will look at it and say, well, without time, we won't be able to do anything. Everything will be out of whack. There wouldn't be any organization. So then you look at the lines and you say, who needs time? That is organized without no watch. When we look at birds flying south for the winter, no watch. They are synced to nature, to the earth, and they understand how things are supposed to be when they're supposed to be. It's a feeling, it's a connection. Time is a construct. It is something put there to disrupt nature, to disrupt the connection. And that's what it's about. Taking us out of the connection to universal law, to natural law, the way things are supposed to be.